Hello, my name is Ainsley from Fairy Tale Vibes and welcome to your Happily Ever After. Today the video that we are making is Apple White and Raven Queen's character arcs in relation to the swapped at birth theory. If you haven't seen my two previous videos on the swapped at birth theory, a brief summary of the swapped at birth theory is that Apple White and Raven Queen were swapped at birth, so Apple's real mom is actually the evil queen and Raven's real mom is actually Snow White. And if you don't know who Apple and Raven are, hello, these are characters from Ever After High. Just Google that if you want to know what that is. It's kind of a very similar line to Monster High. Anyway, the reason I am making this video is because one of the biggest comments that I get whenever I make any videos about the swapped at birth theory, whether that be here on YouTube or on my TikTok. Also, if you're curious, I just made a remastered version with like better evidence for the swapped at birth theory here on my YouTube. And then I used that same evidence and did like a revised swapped at birth theory series on TikTok. So if you want to know like my updated thoughts on the swapped at birth theory, you can check out that latest YouTube video or check out some of my latest TikToks. There's also a whole playlist on my TikTok. Everything's linked below if you want to see it. But anyway, if you want to learn more about the swapped at birth theory. But one of the biggest complaints I guess I get for the swapped at birth theory is that doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of Ever After High? Because part of the evidence for the swapped at birth theory is that Apple acts more like the evil queen. Apple acts a little bit more selfish. And I've dived into this in my other swapped at birth theory videos, whereas Raven acts a little more selfless. Growing up, I always thought Raven acted more like the typical princess. Like, she's like very kind, she always helps out all her friends, whereas Apple, no hate to Apple, but just sweetie, sometimes you kind of put yourself first. Like, she's so desperate to get her happily ever after in Dragon Games that she hides the fact that the evil queen broke out of the mirror prison. Keep in mind, like, the evil queen could have literally like killed everybody at any moment, and Apple doesn't even tell her mom or Headmaster Grimm that she knows the evil queen is free because the evil queen promises that Apple will get her happily ever after. And then she does help Apple get her happily ever after, which is also part of the evidence for the swapped at birth theory. And also just the fact that the evil queen was able to manipulate Apple and knew like exactly what Apple wanted kind of shows that the evil queen is Apple's real mom. But anyway, again, one of the biggest things that I get to complain about is that doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of Ever After High? Because then that means Apple's actually just naturally acting like her real mom, which is the evil queen, and then Raven's just naturally acting more like Snow White. So does it? Okay, to understand this, we need to really dive into the message of Ever After High. So at the beginning of Ever After High, we're introduced to this message, which is, are you royal or are you rebel? And it kind of shows children or just any watchers of the show that in life we all have a choice. We can follow the path set for us by our parents, or we can choose to write our own destiny. And of course, Raven chooses to write her own destiny, but the message of Ever After High seems to lean more towards being able to write your own destiny, because as the series progresses up until Dragon Games, almost all the students besides Apple end up not following their fairy tale destinies. Like, two of the biggest royals at the beginning of the series are Ashlyn and Briar. Very quickly, Ashlyn realizes she wants to be with Hunter. She doesn't need another Prince Charming. She doesn't want to be Cinderella. And then also pretty quickly, Briar Beauty realizes there is no way I am sleeping for 100 years. And she literally throws the Storybook of Legends down the well, which for all she could have destroyed the Storybook of Legends. Like, Apple was mad at Raven for not signing the Storybook of Legends, which we actually found out was the fake one. But like, what Briar did, in my opinion, is way more rebellious and way more detrimental than Raven. She threw it down the well. For all she knows, it could have like exploded into a million pieces and they all could have died right there and then. Anyway, so getting to the point, I think the message of Ever After High is, yeah, follow your own destiny. You can choose to do what you want in your life. So again, does the swapped at birth theory disprove this? I don't think so, because what I think we see in the swapped at birth theory, if it is true, it's just that Apple White and Raven Queen have a predisposition to act like their biological parents, which doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be exactly like them. So I think there are some different reasons why Apple and Raven could act like Snow White and the evil queen. For example, Apple being more selfish like the evil queen could be out of genetics. And then same thing for Raven being more selfless. It could be a genetic thing where it was passed down from their biological parents. Or it could also just be a lingering effect, because in my Swapped at Birth theory, I explained that I think the Evil Queen used the Storybook of Legends to swap Apple and Raven's destinies, which gave Raven powers and the destiny of the Evil Queen, but maybe that swap didn't fully go through, and maybe there's some lingering characteristics in Apple and Raven from their original destinies, and that's why they act a certain way. It could also just be foreshadowing. We have to remember Ever After High is a kids show, so a very simple way to foreshadow Apple and Raven being swapped at birth is just to have them act a little bit like their biological parents. It could just be simple foreshadowing. That being said, I do not think Apple is actually a villain. I do not think she would actually end up being evil. I think she has a predisposition to be more like the Evil Queen, but I think ultimately she can choose her destiny. Now, let's get back to the true message of Ever After High, which is that anybody can choose to follow their own destiny. And here's the thing, I feel like by the time we get to Dragon Games, which I kind of see Dragon Games as like the last Ever After High movie that really had like the good plot. Like, I feel like when we get to Epic Winter, I thought they were going to continue the plot from Dragon Games. They'd been building up since Legacy Day to this plot in Dragon Games of like this whole Apple versus Raven, like, are you going to follow your destiny? Like, what are you going to choose? And then in Epic Winter, we just kind of dropped the ball and like just kind of forgot about Apple and Raven's character arcs. And so a lot of people thought their character arcs were finished in Dragon Games. I do not think their character arcs were finished in Dragon Games. And let me explain. It's because I still think that Apple doesn't fully grasp why Raven and so many of the other students want to follow different destinies than the ones they are assigned. And here's my evidence for that. If it would have ended at Way to Wonderland, and at Way to Wonderland, Raven and Apple and Darling kind of agreed, like they have that little moment where they're like, yeah, anybody can follow their own destiny. You can be whatever you want to be, you know? But then like immediately in the next movie in Dragon Games, like Apple just goes back to being like, Raven, can you please follow your destiny? I know like we agreed and we both destroyed the Storybook of Legends, but like it would be so nice if you poison me. And yeah, so I feel like Apple still has not really learned her lesson. I feel like Dragon Games was definitely like a climax. Oh my gosh. And there was somebody else who made a video about this. I'm gonna pop the username right here. They made an analysis of Raven's character arc, I think. And they kind of brought this up, how Dragon Games is kind of like the climax of the Ever After High series, but it feels like we never got a conclusion. So in this video, I think so basically what I'm predicting in this video is what the conclusion would have been if the Swapped at Birth theory was true and how it would have concluded their character arcs. So like this person said, I don't know why I can't remember their name. Like this person said, I think Dragon Games was the climax, but I still think Apple and Raven's character arc was not finished. And I think if the Swapped at Birth theory would have been true, in the final movie or whatever the final special is, Apple and Raven would have realized their real destinies. And here's the thing, I think Raven would not care. She'd be like, oh, so my real destiny was Snow White? I don't care. I still want to follow my own destiny. I feel like Raven would be relatively unaffected because she has realized that she can write her own destiny, and she is not so swayed by what everybody else is saying. People used to say that she was the Evil Queen. Now people are saying she's Snow White. She doesn't really care. And I think this is going to be very shocking to Apple, because remember how much Apple cared about the Snow White destiny? She's going to be shocked that once Raven finds out that she's really Snow White, Raven does not care. I think that's going to really shake Apple's world. And also if there's any other royals who have not agreed with Raven up to this point, once they see that even Raven, once she has a good destiny, is kind of like, whatever, they're gonna be shocked too. Like, for example, maybe like Daring or something, even though even in like Epic Winter, he kind of realized like, but whatever. Like, just some other people would be shocked by Raven not caring. And then Apple, I think once Apple finds out that she's the Evil Queen star, she's gonna try to go full Evil Queen. She's gonna try to be evil. She's gonna try to do everything to be evil. And she's gonna realize she's actually not an evil person. Despite me saying that Apple is selfish, I don't think she's actually evil. I think she would try so hard to be evil. I think she would have like like she'd have like a moment where she turns, like she'd have a ready as I'll ever be moment, if you know what I'm talking about. Like she'd have one of those moments where she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go evil, but then by the end she's like, no, I love my friends too much and I don't need to follow in the evil queen's footsteps. So I think that's how we can fully get a conclusion to Apple's character arcs, because I think one of the lingering questions is, like, Raven always had a bad destiny. She was going to be locked in prison. She was going to poison her best friend. She never had a good destiny. So I think by allowing her to have a good destiny and still choose not to follow it really shows just how strong her conviction is, and shows how strong she has come, and like just strengthens her character overall. And then I think by Apple finding out that her real destiny is not the Snow White destiny that she put so much attention towards and that she built her whole life around, and then her realizing that it's actually Evil Queen's destiny, and then her trying to do it, and she finds herself kind of in Raven's place. And I think the only reason for Apple to really learn her lesson is to be put in Raven's place, or just even in a place of any of the rebels where they have a destiny that is not good, and realize that it sucks, and realizes that she actually wants to follow her own destiny, and she wants to make up her own rules. And yes, in some regard, in Dragon Games, she did already fulfill the Snow White destiny, so she does have that. She did accomplish that. But yeah, that is how I think Apple and Raven's character arcs were meant to finish out if the swapped at birth theory is true. And I just think that would have been a really satisfying conclusion to the series, because I truly feel like we never fully got to see the end of their character arcs. Also, before concluding this video, I want you guys to let me know if you'd like me to do another deep dive into the special, the Monster High and Ever After High crossover special that never happened, because I believe that if we truly got the real conclusion to Ever After High that got canceled, what would have happened is we would have had Dragon Games, the Monster High crossover, and then the final Ever After High special, which is where I believe the swapped at birth theory would have been revealed. So let me know if you want me to do another video trying to predict what would have happened in the crossover special between Ever After High and Monster High, and how that could possibly lead into the final special where I believe the swapped at birth theory would take place. Also, again, I did mention that I've read The Legend of Shadow High, which is the crossover book between Ever After High and Monster High, but remember, that is G2, so that book is not the same as the Lost crossover special. Like, I believe that that's a different plot. I believe that maybe some of the plot elements from the original special were included in the book, but I think ultimately that plot is different from the one that we would have gotten if we had gotten the real special, which was a crossover with G1 Monster High. So anyway, just let me know if you want to see a deep dive into that. But thank you guys for watching this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and bye guys!